Life aboard a U.S. aircraft carrier is often portrayed as a thrilling adventure, with the excitement of launching fighter jets, the prestige of serving on a cutting-edge military vessel, and the pride of contributing to national defense. But beneath the surface of this glamorized image lies a harsh reality that few people truly understand. The real life of sailors aboard an aircraft carrier is one of relentless pressure, constant motion, and often sleepless nights. The first thing that becomes clear when stepping aboard an aircraft carrier is the overwhelming scale of the ship. These floating cities, each carrying thousands of sailors, are enormous. The ship is its own self-contained world, with everything from living quarters to a full kitchen, medical facilities, and even a small post office. But despite its size, space aboard an aircraft carrier is extremely limited, especially for the crew. The sailors are often packed into tight shared quarters with minimal privacy. Beds are stacked 3 high in rows, and there is barely enough room to move around. For most, this becomes home for months at a time, and personal space is a luxury that they rarely experience. But it's not just the physical conditions that make life on a carrier challenging. It's the demanding, non-stop nature of the job. The aircraft carrier operates on a 24-hour schedule, with sailors working around the clock to keep the ship running. Whether it is conducting air operations, maintaining the ship's complex systems, or handling logistics, there's always something that requires attention. The constant work schedule can lead to fatigue and stress, with sailors often working 12-hour shifts or longer. Sleep deprivation is one of the most insidious realities of life on an aircraft carrier. Sailors may not get the recommended 8 hours of sleep a night. Instead, they work in rotating shifts, often called watches, where they sleep during the day and work at night, or vice versa. This schedule makes it difficult to establish a consistent sleep pattern, and many sailors find themselves operating on little sleep for weeks or months at a time. In rough seas, the constant rocking and swaying of the ship can make it even harder to rest. The noise from engines, aircraft launches, and the constant hustle of the ship's operations doesn't help either. Sailors learn to sleep in brief, irregular bursts, often in noisy, crowded conditions where personal time and relaxation are hard to come by. Sleep deprivation isn't just an inconvenience, it has serious consequences. Fatigue affects mental sharpness, reaction time, and decision-making abilities. On an aircraft carrier, these consequences can be catastrophic. The ship's flight deck is one of the most dangerous places on the vessel, with the constant operation of jets launching and landing at high speeds. A single mistake, often caused by exhaustion or inattention, can result in serious accidents, injuries, or even death. Sailors operating in the engine rooms or performing maintenance on vital systems must be alert at all times. Even minor errors in judgment can compromise the ship's operation and safety. The Navy understands this, and so the high rate of fatigue-related errors is one of the key concerns for command. While sailors are trained to work through exhaustion, the mental and physical toll can eventually catch up to them. But lack of sleep isn't the only challenge sailors face. There's also the isolation. Aircraft carriers often spend months away from land, stationed in international waters, and for many sailors, this means being far from their families, friends, and loved ones. Communication with the outside world is limited and often unreliable. Even with modern technology, staying in touch can be difficult, especially when the ship is stationed in remote parts of the world. Long periods without meaningful communication can take an emotional toll on the crew, contributing to feelings of loneliness and homesickness. The isolation creates a unique form of mental strain, making it harder to stay connected to family life, friendships, and even personal identity. For many sailors, the aircraft carrier becomes their entire world, and the separation from normal life is something they simply have to endure. Another aspect of life aboard an aircraft carrier that often goes unnoticed is the physical toll. Sailors perform physically demanding work, often in extreme conditions. On the flight deck, sailors handle aircraft that weigh tons, sometimes working in extreme heat, wind, and rain, and at other times in freezing temperatures. The physical demands on the body are constant, from working on the catapults and arrestor systems to the high-intensity activities required during aircraft operations. Sailors are on their feet all day, lifting heavy equipment and constantly moving between areas of the ship. The work is exhausting, and it can cause a range of injuries, from back pain to repetitive strain injuries to more serious accidents. Even when they're not on the flight deck, sailors face physically demanding conditions below deck. The engine rooms are hot and noisy, with heavy machinery that requires constant monitoring and maintenance. Sailors working in these areas can suffer from heat exhaustion and dehydration, especially during extended shifts. The ship's tight quarters and constant vibration can also lead to discomfort and physical strain, with sailors often experiencing joint pain or back problems after long periods on the job. The need for continuous physical endurance can lead to burnout, and many sailors struggle to find moments to rest or relax during their limited free time. But perhaps the biggest challenge of all is the grind of routine. Life aboard an aircraft carrier can feel like an endless loop where each day blends into the next. For months, sailors live in the same environment, perform the same duties, and face the same challenges without much change. The monotony can be psychologically taxing. When you're on a floating city surrounded by endless water day in and day out, it can feel like there's no escape from the intensity of military life. Even small tasks, like simply enjoying a meal in peace or finding a quiet moment to relax, can become monumental challenges. Yet, despite all of these challenges, sailors aboard a U.S. aircraft carrier persevere. The bonds of camaraderie formed between crew members become crucial to surviving the harsh realities of life at sea. The shared experiences of exhaustion, isolation, and hardship bring the sailors together, creating a sense of unity and resilience. In many ways, this sense of brotherhood and sisterhood is what makes life on an aircraft carrier bearable. Sailors support one another through the hardest moments, offering camaraderie and solidarity when things seem impossible. In the end, life aboard a U.S. aircraft carrier is one of constant sacrifice. Sailors endure long hours, limited sleep, physical strain, and emotional isolation, all in service to their country and their mission. The work is hard, the conditions are harsh, and the toll it takes is significant. Yet, the men and women who serve on these vessels continue to rise to the occasion, performing their duties with precision, professionalism, and dedication. They understand the importance of the work they do, and despite the sleepless nights, the sacrifices, and the hardships, they continue to serve with pride, knowing that their efforts contribute to the success of the U.S. Navy and the defense of their nation.